Opening day of the President's Cup from Muirfield Village outside Columbus, Ohio. 4-ball on day one, 6 matches in the session. Graham Dillette playing with Jason Day. Birdies the first, the Canadians' first appearance in the President's Cup. They were up against Hunter Mahan and Brandt Snedeker. This was the second shot for Mahan at the second. He hit a number of laser-like irons throughout the day. That a beauty from 140 yards. And then the tee shot at the first of the par threes. The 4th hole, playing 205 yards on Thursday. And another one. In there close, inside of 4 feet when it was all said and done. And the Americans had the upper hand in this match for a good chunk of the day, but Dillette and Day were sticky competitors. They began to chip away, and the match was all square when they came to 16. And Dillette just birdied the 15th, and he would birdie the 16th after a brilliant shot into the par 3. So they came to 18. The match was all square, and Day, a Muirfield Village member, had this birdie putt to win it. They were the first game out at 11:45 in the morning, and it was the first international point on the board for Nick Price's crew. Adam Scott played with Hideki Matsuyama. They were up against Bill Haas and Webb Simpson. This was the second shot at the 3rd hole for the Masters champion. From 110 yards, that close to an eagle too. They trailed this match for much of the day, but staged a late comeback thanks to some brilliant shot making. This was the 3rd of Scott at 15, the par 5. That's an eagle 3. He had just birdied 14. So the Internationals chipping away there, but Bill Haas had a magnificent day on the greens. This was a birdie chance at 17. He made a bunch of them on day 1. That match came down to the last at 18. And here's Matsuyama, the bright young star from Japan, just 21 years of age. Beautifully struck approach shot into the last. Best of the day. That was conceded, and the match was had. Much to the delight of the boys who put the first point on the board for the Internationals, Day and Dillette. Phil Mickelson, meanwhile, along with the Keegan Bradley, they got off to a quick start. Phil birdieing the first. They were such a tough duo at Medina in the Ryder Cup last year, going 3-0. And they had an early 2-up advantage. Were 1-up when they came to 7, the par 5. And Bradley pounced on this one from 227. Gorgeous shot and set up an eagle chance, which Bradley would convert. They were up against the South African boys of Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel. Oosthuizen hasn't played a lot, nagged by an injury for much of the year, but played very well. Birdie putt there at the 8th. In the end, it was a 2-1 international victory. Jordan Spieth playing with Steve Stricker. At the age of 20, his magical run continued. Birdie there at the 6th for the kid. And then another one at 10. They were 2-up at this point. And Spieth looked very much like Stricker on the greens during the opening session. And they had a commanding lead against Ernie Els and Brendan de Jong, who were 2 down at 12. But then the man from Zimbabwe, a captain selection, flipped that one in for a birdie 2. But it was a 1-up victory for the United States in that match. Meanwhile, Matt Kuchar was paired with Tiger Woods. This at the opening hole in their match against Mark Leishman and Angel Cabrera. And a beautiful shot from Kuchar. And they would take an early advantage in that match. Then over at the 6th, 1-up at this point. Tiger second into the par 4. Just a soft high fade right over the top of the flagstick. Stopping about 10 feet away. So birdie chance for Tiger to win the hole, send his team to a 2-up advantage. And he's got it. They really stepped on the throats of their competitors in this one. Wasn't much happening for the internationals. 2 down at this point. Mark Leishman, a captain's pick, did hold this putt, but in the end, it was a resounding 5-4 victory for Woods and Kuchar. Last game of the day, Jason Dufner and Zach Johnson, one up against the South Africans. Sterney and Grace, and the PGA champion, struck a brilliant shot there at the second. Meanwhile, Johnson over at the 6th, shaking off the ill effects of the flu that had him in bed back home in Iowa for more than 20 hours, was late arriving to Muirfield Village this week, but able to shake it off and hold a long one there for birdie at the 6th, and then not to be outdone, Dufner for a long one at the 9th with a 3-up advantage at this point. Pours that one in, leading the U.S. to a 5-3 win in that match. They take 3.5 points out of a possible 6 on day 1. There's your air times for day 2 with President's Cup.